everyone, it's time again to recap the latest news from the solar PV industry, compiled by the American Solar Energy Society. I'm Jay Warmke with SolarPVTraining.com, and this is what's happening in the wonderful world of solar for the week of December 7th. The latest Electric Power Monthly Report from the U.S. Energy Information Administration, or EIA, shows that solar grew by 29.9% in September of this year compared to 2024 and provided 9.7% of the nation's electrical output during the month, up from 7.6% a year earlier. Utility-scale solar expanded by 35.8%, while generation from small-scale systems rose by 11.2% during the first 9 months of this year. The combination of utility-scale and small-scale increased by about a third and produced a bit over 9% of the total U.S. electricity generated so far this year. The mix of all renewables produced 8.7% more electricity so far this year than last, and provided a total of 25.6% of the total U.S. electricity production. Renewables' share of electricity generation is now second only to natural gas, whose electricity output actually dropped by 3.8% for the first 9 months of this year. And California is often a bellwether state, indicating future trends for the nation as a whole. Well, California's electricity generation landscape is undergoing notable shifts, with solar generation rapidly increasing while natural gas shows a steady decline. Although natural gas generation still provides more electricity than any other single source within the state, the generation mix is changing very rapidly. Utility-scale solar plants generated 40.3 billion kilowatt hours for the first 8 months. This is nearly double the 22 billion kilowatt hours that were generated by renewables in 2020 during the same time period. In contrast, electricity generated from natural gas during that time period has declined by about 18%. Enphase announced the first shipments of its next-generation IQ EV Charger 2 to customers across the United States. The charger is designed to interface seamlessly with their fourth generation of products from Enphase. It can charge up to 80 amps from your solar array or the power grid. It also allows for green charging, which then basically allows you to charge your EV like a load dump. So rather than sending power back to the grid, it can charge only from the solar array when there's excess power directly to your EV. The charging hardware and software are designed to allow for future AC bidirectional charging capabilities, preparing customers for the anticipated vehicle-to-home and vehicle-to-grid marketplace. Enphase does maintain that true bidirectional charging will be available in 2026, but this model does not do bidirectional charging, at the moment anyway. This summer, the 67 million people who live between New York City and Chicago and are served by PJM interconnection were hit with an extra $9.4 billion in electricity bills as proposed data centers drove up prices. Another $1.4 billion in increases are already locked in for next summer, and there's no end to these rising prices in sight. Unless something changes, it's forecast that PJM customers will pay an extra $100 billion through 2033 as new data centers continue to exceed the available power supply. Within 3 years, families are projected to be paying about $70 a month extra for this on their electric bills. Data centers are allowed to connect even when there's not enough electricity to go around. Now, if nothing changes by June of 2027, the region will likely fall below reliability standards. Now, this means a greater risk of rolling blackouts, especially during winter storms and summer heat waves. In July, the Department of Energy projected that the U.S. will likely see a 100-fold increase in power outages over the next 3 years. And the latest rankings for the top polysilicon manufacturers in the world show that 9 of the top 10 are based in China. The Chinese polysilicon industry reached its share of 93.5% in global output in 2024. Wacker is the only remaining non-Chinese representative amongst the top 10. The German-based chemicals group was once the largest manufacturer of polysilicon from 2016 through 2019, but it fell to 5th place in 2022 and has fallen now to 8th place in 2024. The U.S. began imposing tariffs on Chinese solar panels and silicon and chips back in 2012, when China captured about 54% of the world's market. After 13 years of tariffs, China now holds an 85% share of all solar panels produced worldwide. And that is the news from the solar industry for this week. We'll see you next week.